We have a very full agenda tonight, so I'm calling it 7:02. I'm calling the meeting to order. And I'm going to say we have a very full agenda several times tonight.
Who has notes
Trust me.
tonight?
Sorry,
Do you know who has notes tonight?
Laura does.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you, Laura.
All right. So I'm going to do a quick roll call. Bob,
Here.
John,
Here.
Alex, Andy,
Here.
Bettina,
Here.
Jennifer.
He's in the bathroom.
Okay. I guess that's what counts. Kristen,
Here.
Laura,
Excused.
and I see that Danielle and Richard are online, but they won't be voting on anything. Okay. Next up is adoption of the agenda or any changes to the agenda. Anyone have any changes, additions? Approved without objection. All right, on to communication from the public on non-agenda items. Do we have people here in person that will be giving non-agenda comments? Raise your hand, please. 2, 3, and 4, 5. We have 5 people. Oh, plus Alex, sorry, 6. So I'm going to have to limit this to 2 minutes each tonight in order to keep us on track. All right. So I'm going to start first with the people online, and then we'll do the people here in person. So Danielle, I'll start with you.
Thank you. Good evening. I do want to bring to everyone's attention at EAPC that today at City Council, Streets Division gave a report about their needs, and one of the things that they mentioned was that the Choice Op Yards is at capacity and the Streets Division needs a new location. And that was followed up by the IBA reiterating that. The gentleman's first name was Jordan, didn't catch his last name. He also stated from the IBA that all divisions, streets, stormwater, public utilities, etc., all need a new location other than the Choice Op Yards. So I would like those who are included in the Mid-City Community Plan update to remember this, and also an FYI that the hand-picked list is out of those who are on the Mid-City Community Plan from planning. And lastly, I want to thank Council President Sean Elo Rivera for mentioning that green infrastructure versus gray infrastructure, it is what is preferred whenever the Choice watershed is worked on. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Danielle. iPhone, if you could identify yourself, please, for the minutes. Or not. iPhone, you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, could I have your name, please, for the minutes?
Yes, my name is Becky Rapp.
Thank you, Becky. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Great. Good evening. My name is Becky Rapp, and I am a public health advocate. And I focus on drug prevention among children and youth, young adults. And I often speak regarding the previously proposed municipal code changes surrounding the marijuana ordinance that would potentially increase the number of pot shops in the city by 36 and remove barriers put into place to protect youth and young adults, particularly by removing distance separation requirements from libraries, parks, churches, and schools. I'm grateful the mayor has put this proposal on hold, but worry that when it does come to committee in the future, some of these original modifications may still be considered. I'd like to suggest to this planning group that you have a unique opportunity to make suggestions to the city regarding this ordinance, specifically to a new department that's solely dedicated to children and youth. This office is called OCYS, or the Office of Child and Youth Success. Their draft plan has been posted and they're accepting comments and suggestions. I can include the link to that in the chat, where it will take you directly to the location where you can comment. It's crucial that we take any opportunity to speak on behalf of children and protect them from the normalization of drug use in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. We do not turn on chat in the meetings because it's not transparent in a hybrid meeting. You can email it to me if you want, and I will send it out to the board and see that it's posted in the minutes for others who read the minutes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Becky. Kathleen Lippett, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and Planning Group members. My name is Kathleen Lippid. I'm a public health practitioner and public health drug policy researcher. Recently, I attended Summer Steffens, Mayor Morrison, and Mayor McCann's recent press conference, where they discussed the deficiencies and associated problems from Prop 47, which passed in 2014. And it reduced the charges for personal drug possession and for theft of anything worth less than $950 from a felony to a misdemeanor. It required the money that the state saved would be invested into rehabilitation programs. However, some of the unintended consequences of that proposition were that it is really affecting small businesses because there is not enough of a deterrent effect for serial robberies of small businesses. The small markets, the Neighborhood Market Association was there in support of fixes for this proposition because they said their clerks are afraid to come into work, and they cannot afford to have these serial robberies. So they are hoping that they're collecting signing signatures for this proposition, and hopefully it will be on the November ballot. And so we're hoping that people will be aware of it and look for the redesigned Proposition 47. And I think I'll stop there because you're busy.
Thank you very much.
I
We
think that's
appreciate it,
enough.
Kathleen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for
very
letting me
much.
speak. Okay.
All right, in-person attendees, non-agenda comments, raise your hand, please, so I can find you. Yes, we'll start with you. 2 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Renee Jones, and we are starting a neighborhood watch over by the water tower. And there's homeless encampments and that type of thing. And we've had an uptick in theft and that type of thing. Whatever information, wherever you can point us, we're trying to figure out the borders. We want to do a cleanup. We need to know who owns the property, so that we don't step on any toes, or we can inform them. We're kind of starting from scratch. We need help, whatever you guys can do.
John,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we connect you after the meeting? These are your Redwood Village
Oh, nice.
representatives here.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah, so-
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
all right. Thank you very much. Next, hi.
Hi, I'll just piggyback off of what Renee said. My name is Oliver Walker. We started up a neighborhood watch in Redwood Village. And we're in the very beginnings, and we're stumbling around trying to figure out what to do next. Ultimately, our ultimate goal is to have that area by the water tower activated as a public use area. But we have to define the boundaries and define the problem further. So any help you can provide would be wonderful. That's all I have. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. We'll talk after the meeting because we have very active community councils for Redwood Village and Rolando Park. And we'll give you meeting information, but one of your best resources is sitting right behind you.
Which I met last night.
All right.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Next, 2 minutes, sir.
I am learning.
Okay.
I am a consistent listener, learner, teacher in almost all public meetings that I came across since 2021, when this issue of toxicity right next door has been reported first to our good friends, the law enforcement. This toxicity, as per their responses, fire, including asthma, did not do anything but came in person to say, sorry, sir, sorry, ma'am, we cannot do investigation because this has been permitted by the city, by the county, by the government. Toxicity means it harms our physical body, the respiratory system, the lungs. And by that alone, it is a crime, if I may say it, because it is a form of assault. You switch on the kiln, which emits toxic gases we call carbon, monoxide, dioxide, trioxide, sulfur, whatever. The gas or the oxygen or the air that we breathe, if it is wrong kind of air or oxygen, what happens? The heart has a hard time to pump out and in the food blood or the sewage, as we call it in plumbing, to sustain this perfect body. We are seeking this help as advised by Marine, as advised by Eric from District 4 County. Keep on asking help from the city. And that's what I'm trying to amplify now, because I know we are in the roots of that huge tree of greater America.
Thank you, sir.
I
Could
live by
Yeah.
west bank of Creek,
Okay.
of Cholas Creek, and I have a self-imposed, hey, you must be a community volunteer, which I'm doing now.
All right. Thank you. Your time's up, sir. Could we have your name for the minutes, please?
What was your name?
Oh, Cesar Javier Ma, I registered with the first meeting and it's still here.
Okay.
Thank
To
you.
keep track.
Thank you.
Cesar Javier Mom?
I'll get it.
Cesar Javier. Okay, I got that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any more non-agenda comments? All right. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Alex. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just need to be a quick announcement. I just want to let you know that chapter of the Great Panthers of San Diego has been established. It's about 2 or 3 months old. We are a dynamic multi-generational movement dedicated to championing social and economic justice for adults 50 years and older in the vibrant county of San Diego. So what do? We are committed to addressing the myriad challenges facing older adults, such as food insecurity, housing, legal and civil rights, healthcare, and access to services and resources. The dues are $15 a year per individual and $5 for any additional household members. I left flyers up here. You can be almost any age to join. Our president is in her 30s. I'm in my 70s. I'm the treasurer. Vice president is in his 70s, and our outreach person's in her 30s. So you can be any age to join. You don't have to be an old fart like me. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. All right.
That's
That-
official for the minute.
Yeah, that'll be in there, I'm sure. All right, that concludes our non-agenda comments. We're on to representative reports, and first up is Roberto Marin from Council Member Shanilo Rivera's office, District 9. Roberto? You're muted. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Roberto Marin, Community Rep with Council President Sean Hilo Rivera. I was out sick, so apologies. I'm still recovering. Wanted to give a few updates. Number one, Mr. Walker, I hear you about the encampments. I have been up there myself various times. Officer Cummings can attest as well. That he's been up there various times. It is a multi-complex issue. It is owned by 4 different entities of the city. It's owned by PUD, stormwater, transportation, and actually private property. So it is very difficult when we do assess that area and maintain responsibility. It gets a little bit tricky, but nevertheless, we always do get it done reports. I know MPD's been up there. We're trying to figure out a long-term solution, because if you've been up there, which I'm sure you have, it is pretty vast and wide, and there's no really fencing or any barriers for folks to not get up there. So we're going to be working with the mayor's office and with the police department and other departments to see what the solution is, because we have been getting reports of that. And I just want to reassert you know, your concerns of public safety, especially with there's a school there. My aunt, my cousin goes to Darnell, so I'm very aware of those issues, and we'll be working together on that. So I'm happy to chat with you offline about that. A couple of items, Danielle mentioned there was a streets assessment. City auditor did a kind of assessment of the plan. We're lacking, you know, $1.2 billion, B as in billion, in our roads and infrastructures. One of the things that Council President is very adamant about is making sure that we can repave not only those roads itself, but also the alleyways. There's a lot of alleyways in eastern area and throughout the city that do not have adequate access. When it rains, it floods. Folks can't access that. So that's one of the things that we really are pushing for this year, is make sure we get some funding for that. A couple things in terms of the tree canopy. I mentioned this to Lynn on Friday. We had a meeting last week with the urban forester. They're doing a Trees for Communities program. They're basically per settlement by the EACPC, I believe that's what they're called. They are required to plant a certain amount of trees in communities of concern through enviro screening, and also through urban core. They identified some areas. Having some prolonged conversations with them, we brought up Redwood Village and Rolando Park and El Cerrito because of the impeding construction that is bound to happen in June or July or late of this year, Sandag on University Avenue. We raised those concerns. What the department told us was that they're first going to try to plant trees in areas of concern, which is rightfully so. And then if they have funding, they will try to pivot to other areas that are that have little to no trees, and we made sure to point that out to them. So I know they're going to be talking to Sandag, and I know we'll have evolving conversations over that, but I just wanted to give that quick update because I know some folks hadn't heard one in a while. A few other things, Village Green Apartments, they are looking at an end of May timeline to return to their house. So when that timeline approaches, we will be collaborating hopefully with the Rolando Park Community Council and Redwood Village to see if we can do some fundraisers for those folks. Those folks literally lost everything. They don't have nothing. They're living in a hotel day to day. It's pretty sad. And so all we can do as a community is rally together and make sure we can come with some tools and with some furniture for them when they move back in. So we'll work on that in the future. And then the last thing I wanted to point out is I know some folks had some issues with Choice Parkway. I know as of right now, as I mentioned yesterday in the meeting with Lynn, we are having no camping ban signs are up and ready, I believe, on Choice Parkway. Lucero can touch a little bit on that. But we are continuing to work on that. It's a cat and mouse game. We understand there's some frustrations with that. But we are also trying to figure out a timeline, because it seems like it's confusing for us in terms of the vacation of the property. So it was heard from the end of the year that they will start, but it's kind of an iffy timeline. So we're trying to make sure that we can get that corrected. That's about it for me. Any questions? Because I know we're on a time crunch here.
Mario, quick, please.
Yes, hi, thank you very much. Just one comment about your tree canopy. City's coming out a lot of publicity about tree canopies, but you're taking out a lot more trees than you're putting in by all the new residents you're allowing, and you're having people that are cutting up every tree in their backyard so they can put up more ADUs. You're destroying more big full-grown trees than you'll ever plant in any street. So I would like somebody to take that into concern when you talk about tree canopies, because it's very hypocritical to do it the way you're doing it, but allow these people to tear out all these other streets. I know you want to put in one street tree for every unit you add in there, but it's a little tiny tree, and there's not so much space there's not a space along the street to accommodate every tree that you take out. So think about that. Please bring that back to our district or council person. Thank you.
Thanks, Mario. Danielle?
Yes, good evening, Roberto. I wanted to let you know that I did get a timeline, very detailed timeline from Park and Rec about the east side of Choice Parkway street vacation. I was planning to give that at the Park and Rec report. Hopefully you can stay to the end of the meeting. If not, I'll email it to you. And secondly, what is the council president's position on the new routes? Has there been any motion to try and dedicate that as parkland? Because the underlying zoning is residential, but there's also a paper street that's under there, and the city attorney is opining on all kinds of stuff, and it's really not helping the poor farmers that are there at New Routes. And if there's
Right,
anything I can help with, to get Park and Rec just to at least look at that parcel and say, yeah, sure, we can dedicate it parkland. I'd be very happy to help out in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Danielle. New routes is a very tricky topic. All I could say is, if you've read Council President's statement that, we need accessible community gardens and that we need to preserve those, right? We stand by those comments. Other than that, I can't comment. There is some legalities that are behind it, and I am not, I'm not able to comment any much further than that. I know it's not gonna make everyone happy, but that's the direction that I was told. So I can't comment other than that, but I'm happy to connect with you offline to see if we can work something out. I do know Council President's invested in this New Roots garden, but we just want to be careful because there are legalities that are outside of our control, and we don't want to jeopardize that, or we don't want to step on any toes in that matter.
And a final question, is council member having office hours at all?
The council member, as of right now, is not having office hours due to his baby and trying to make sure he takes some time for himself. But I did hear that we, as community reps, will have office hours with him at some point. One of the things that was floated was to have them in the community instead of at City Hall or on Zoom. So, for example, if you guys don't know, Sarah Jacobs had hers at the College Rolando Library. We're looking at something similar like that, maybe having it at Rolando Park Elementary, at Darnell, at schools like that, maybe after school, to see if they are willing to come over. A lot of parents do come to school, so instead of them going somewhere else, we want them to make sure that they could, do 2 for 1 in an area. So I can connect with you and update the group in terms of any office hours in the next few days.
Great, thank you. Laura, real quick, please.
I just wanted to piggyback on everything Mario said. And I really think that the whole entire city council and the mayor's office need to get educated on trees and all the things all the benefits that they are for the entire area. It includes keeping groundwater in the area, to CO2, and planting the sapling sticks that are getting planted is nothing at all like the trees that are getting cut down. And somebody really, really better start looking into this. And I really think that there needs to be a valid study by the climate action people, because what's going on with cutting down the trees is terrible. 2 in the yard behind me were cut down within the last month, 2 full-grown trees. It's really pretty unforgivable at this point. There used to be a program where everybody had to report a tree if they were cutting it down. It would be good to get back to that.
Thanks for the suggestion. I'll one last thing, Lynn, I know we're short on time. Council President's been very clear, and our office is leading on this effort. We've made it clear to the forester that if we're cutting X amount of trees, we need to make sure that we're replenishing them. Not only that, we're going above and beyond, and that's why projects like Streamview Drive are so important, to make sure that we don't have concrete in the middle. With that, every project that we do is done right. And that's why we brought this project here, and with the help of Council District 4 and Bruce, who had this prior. We really care about trees. And one of the things that they mentioned to us is that during this tree program, they were going to do community outreach. They're going to do workshops. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in learning about it in general, I would go to the Mount Hope Earth Day. That is on April 27th. They will be there. They will have staff that will answer your questions, answer about climate equity, answer about what they're doing and what they plan on doing in certain areas. So I feel like that if you want to get some concrete answers in person, live, I would suggest you go to that Earth Day, because they are very helpful and they are very committed into making sure that we plant enough trees in the city And not only that, but plant trees to the point where it could diminish some of these climate issues that we've been seeing on Chuyas Creek and all sorts of parts of the city of San Diego.
All right,
Roberto?
can, we're on such a time crunch tonight. I'm sorry. Can we take it offline?
Not us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. All right, thank you, Roberto. Next up is Bruce Williams from Council District 4. Hello, Mr. Williams. Oh,
Greetings all. Oh, am I up?
there you go. Yep.
All right. Greetings all. Bruce Williams representing, I can say this now, Council Member Henry Foster III, who was sworn in yesterday and had his first two meetings yesterday and today. And that will my report I just want to share with y'all his committees that he's going to be on. He'll serve on the Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, the Budget and Government Efficiency Committee, the Community and Neighborhood Services Committee, as well as a member of the Economic Development and Intergovernmental Relations. So we look forward to working with Henry as he serves the 4th District. He does intend on having office hours on Fridays, but it looks like we're going to be changing the location to the Live Well Center at Euclid and Market. Plenty of parking. And if you would like to meet with him, please call Stephanie in our office at 619-236-6644, and we can get you on a list. We're putting a lot of things together now, our team, as well as who's going to do what. So we look forward to working with Eastern Area, and I suspect I will continue to serve as Eastern Area's rep. I know, bad news, but hey, we'll do our best for you. All
That
right.
would be great. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Any questions for Bruce?
Yeah. Sorry, Bruce, it's Jen. Do you know if council member Foster has an email yet?
He does.
Great. Could you share it, please?
Yes, I can. I just had it. We don't have chat, do we?
No.
hlffoster@sandiego.gov. hlfoster@sandiego.gov.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Bruce.
Mhm.
Lucero Maganda from the mayor's office. You were up, Lucero.
Good evening, everyone. Apologies. I got delayed in another meeting, so ended up joining virtually. Lucero Maganda from the mayor's office. I shared a written report with you, Lynn, if you could share with everyone. It is lengthy, but I did have some items to highlight for you all. So I'll just go over those very quickly. The first one is on the topic of addressing homelessness, given that it's the #1 concern that the mayor hears directly from constituents and community members everywhere we go. He did announce the plan to launch a new shelter facility that can house up to 1,000 beds, 1,000 additional beds to our existing homeless shelter portfolio. That proposed site is not in council districts 8, 9, or 4. It is actually going to be, sorry, is this me or is this someone else? I'm seeing a screen. Give me a second. Okay, sorry. That was me, technical difficulties. My computer was possessed. The site location, as I was previewing, is not in those districts. It is actually located in Council District 2 in the Pacific Highway area. So it's Kettner and Vine. Again, the proposal is for an additional 1,000 beds to help us, again, solidify and diversify our portfolio. This proposal will be going to committee in the next few weeks. I can share more information about the dates and times for you all if you wish to participate, provide comment, or talk to your council members in support and opposition, whatever it may be. Again, just wanted to share that update. It's written in my report. If you have any questions about that, I'm available. A couple more quick announcements regarding public safety. The mayor did appoint the new chief of police, former Assistant Chief Scott Wall, as his recommendation. So wanted to share that with you all. And additionally, we are undergoing the recruitment process for a new fire chief. There is a live survey collecting input from different communities, similar to the one that we launched for the chief of police. If you have any input, questions, concerns, you can fill it out, and there's a section for additional comments, or you can feel free to share those out with me. Again, just wanted to make sure it is an important and sort of process that's going on, and I know that particularly with a lot of the canyon areas, all of the fire concerns, want to make sure that we are providing those comments and that input on that process. And last, well, two more things. Sorry, I know it's a long agenda. I did want to share an update with this group regarding Streamview Drive. One of the conversations lengthy conversations and ongoing issues on Streamview Drive, among other things, is the topic of illegal dumping. And I know we've met with a couple of you all about some ways to mitigate some of that. The last time we met, we had a request for no illegal dumping signs. So after a little bit of back and forth between departments, I did get the green light that we have the signs available. So we'll be working with the transportation department to do the installation of the signs, in addition to community members. So we just need to work out the locations of where we want the signage to be placed. So I did talk to Lynn a little bit about this and seeing if it could potentially be either an info or action item from the group to kind of have that discussion and give everybody the opportunity to discuss that. So just wanted to share that. It's not a full resolution to the issue, but it is a step forward. And wanted to make sure that I shared it with the group. And lastly, I know it was flagged for me that there is a San Diego Housing Commission meeting happening on Friday. There's a lot of questions in regards to the storage facilities and what that process is going to look like, that timeline. I'm in the process of getting more information, hopefully before Friday, on any of the terms of the lease and the services. So just bear with me. I know it comes up every meeting, so I just wanted to make sure that I let you know I'm working on it. I should have an update shortly, but it is something that we are tracking and making sure that we are on top of it and really emphasizing, right, that we are working towards, this was supposed to be a temporary solution. So where are we in terms of that timeline? So that is it. Sorry, that was a lot. I rambled. If there's time for questions.
There's time for a quick question from Danielle.
Thank you. So it's on the last topic, Lucero. The San Diego Housing Commission is going to grant a 1-year lease. That's what is on the agenda, and then an option for 1 more leases. But what I've heard from Park and Rec is that it's only going to take them 1 year to finish the street vacation process, to get all of the ducks in a row to start that process. So we're cutting it a little close on where this Storage Connect 2 is going to end up. And I keep asking for data as to where the clients are coming from so that that Storage Connect 2 can be moved to where the clients are coming from. And we just getting pushback from the group that runs it saying we don't collect that data. So I keep asking, well, how do you know where you're going to move to? So that's just an FYI for all of you. But I don't think the San Diego Housing Commission is a Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, you have to show up at 9 o'clock there down at Broadway, and I won't be able to attend. So hopefully somebody from Eastern can. Thanks.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks, Danielle. Lucero, I did get your report just before I left for this meeting, so I will email it out to the board. If you're on our mailing list, I'll include you in that, and then I'll also see that it's posted on our website. So if anyone's here tonight and you're not on our mailing list, you can view it on the website tomorrow, maybe.
sorry, one last thing before.
Oh, sure.
Just a quick little plug. If you are not subscribed to our newsletter, we do try to get that out on a weekly basis, and it does have a lot of really good information. I try to capture a little bit of it for you, what I think is most important, but I would highly encourage you to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And that's it.
All right. Thanks, Lucero. Thanks very much. All right, folks, we're moving on to our information and action items. And our first item tonight is a presentation on short-term rentals by Rami Zamiski, who's online with us. Rami, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. And, oops, sorry. I'm trying to share my screen. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I'll share mine.
Yep.
Oh, nope, you've disabled screen sharing.
Yeah, hang on. Sorry. It's one of those bad days today.
Totally understand.
There we go. All right.
Okay. All right, so I want to thank you for having me come and give this presentation. I've given it to other groups, and it seems to be interesting to people. So we'll get right into it. I know you're short on time. So one of the things that I've come to understand is that we could have 8,000 new housing units on the market tomorrow. And to give you a perspective on that, 8,000 housing units would be 160 unit apartment buildings. So what is easier, building 160 unit apartment buildings, or doing this simple task of, if there's a housing crisis, then we should be not doing our short-term rentals. So short-term rentals right now, they have 4 different tiers. One is that you only have your house available for a couple weeks a year. Another one is that you also have it for a couple of weeks a year, but the owner has to reside on site. 3 and 4 are basically have at it. Nobody needs to actually live there. It can just be for these short-term rentals. So what's the problem with tier 2? Well, according to the city website, the owner or the permanent resident can be absent, may be absent from the residence for up to 90 days per calendar year. So they're supposed to live there for 9 months of the year. While they, maybe when they go on vacation, they have their home available for rental. Well, there's 264 of these licenses that are held by somebody that has more than one tier 2 license. So I'm not sure how you're supposed to be able to live in multiple houses for 9 months a year. One person actually holds 12 of these tier 2 licenses. He also has 2 tier 1s, 27 tier 3s, and 19 tier 4 licenses. So that's 60. How can one person hold 60 licenses? The city has said that this program should be 1 license per person. Well, the city has left a loophole. And what that is that even though the property can be owned by the same person, the properties can have the same tax ID number on their registration for the license, have the same contact number. Everything's the same except for the host name. And the host is, in the eyes of the city, the person that holds the license. So what's the problem with that? Well, in word from my mouth is that it's a scam. So I know of a company that has 17 houses off the market so that they can rent them for short-term rentals. And I looked them up. I know people on the list as hosts. I know those people have never stepped foot on that property. They don't manage the property. They don't deal with Airbnb or any of the other rentals. They don't do any work. They've never been there. But the city has said, here's a license in your name, so this one person can have these 17 licenses. So I looked up your area today, well, the 92105 zip code. And here's an example. So you'll see that there's multiple instances where somebody has in column T for Tom, it's the same name. You see, it's the same contact phone number in column U. In column P, all of these numbers in column P are the tax ID numbers. They show up more than once on the license list. So the same person through the same tax ID has multiple licenses. This one, Skytree Enterprises, they have 4 in the 92105 area code or zip code, but they have 15 total. Up towards the top, Kathy Moon, she has 18 total. And I went and looked today at this property. I'm not sure how there's 8 units, but it says there's 8 units. Now, the thing that upset me about this one is that's the entire building is off the market for people who need housing that the city keeps telling us about. They are just open for short-term rentals, for vacation rentals. The other thing that upsets me is I went and looked, and last year, this person got a permit through the ADU program. So they got it fast-tracked, they got their permit so they could convert a garage into another unit. The city is not doing any kind of even, I mean, it took me 5 minutes to find this out. They're not doing any kind of investigation to say, okay, you're building this ADU, great, we need ADUs. Oh, wait a minute, it is never going to be available for somebody from San Diego to live in because it's going right back into her inventory of short-term rentals. So I don't understand why the city can't do that minimum of checking to make sure if somebody's building an ADU and we are fast tracking this, is it actually going to benefit San Diego? No, it's benefiting Kathy Moon. So you should tell the city, you say, well, the city is known. This article was from June of last year, where it pointed out exactly what I'm telling you. They asked for council members' comments, and I'm sure you'll be surprised to find out the council members didn't want to have a comment on this. I also have told our council member, nothing's been done. There's been multiple news stories about this, that there is a loophole. So one has to conclude that the loophole wasn't a defect, it's how they want it to be. But this is nothing new, and it's not just San Diego. All around the country and all around the world, it's becoming a business for people to buy up houses, take them off the market, and just use them for short-term rentals for vacationers. My feeling on the matter is houses should be homes and not hotels. So if the housing is so bad, because we keep hearing about this from the city and state leaders, even though the population in the city and state are actually declining, if this is such an emergency, they need to stop the program, put these housing units back on the market, and then in the meantime, work on this program so there aren't loopholes, that if it really is supposed to be one license per person, it's truly one license per person. You saw the list. It wasn't hard to figure out that these are getting around what was intended. So why should you care? Well, there's multiple surveys and studies that have been done all around the United States and all around the world. In addition to this, recently, Australia has come out, the Queensland University has come out with a study saying that these short-term rentals being taken off the market are causing not just rents for long-term renters to go up, it's causing housing prices to go up because people are gobbling up these properties so that they can turn them into rentals. So it's causing all prices to go up, whether it's rental or for buying. Now, in addition, we all know that recently Palm Springs has cracked down on short-term rentals. And while it's not a study, they've already seen prices for long-term rentals and for houses go down in Palm Springs after they clamp down on these short-term rentals. So putting those 8,000 housing units back on the market right away is a good start. But I don't know if any of you remember in Scooby-Doo, it always seemed to be that as soon as they unmasked somebody that was supposed to be a monster, it turned out to be an unscrupulous real estate person. So let's take a look at another issue. So here's this beautiful house in Talmadge. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's 1,500 square feet. So in the write-up, it sounds wonderful. They've revamped the whole thing. Perfect. Okay. So I went and looked up this property. So again, the write-up is that it's fully renovated. It's got the new flooring, the HVAC, the plumbing, electrical. Must have been a long time for them to get all those permits to do all that work. Yeah, no, they didn't. The one permit that is listed on the city website for this address is just for windows. That's it. They didn't get any kind of construction permits for electrical, for plumbing, for anything that their own ad says was done. Now, I told our council member and waited for him to do something. He didn't do anything. So then I called DSD and told them about this, that these people said they did all this work and they didn't have any permits. That was a month ago. I checked today. There have been no liens put on this property on the city website. There's no notification. Apparently nothing was done. These people got away with it. So for kicks and giggles, let's say they actually did the work and they actually did it correctly. These are the numbers that I came up with, and I was pretty generous with this amount for a 1,500 square foot house. Let's just say that their upgrades were $100,000. So they bought the property in August for $1 million. Then they put it back on the market, supposedly having done all of this work, for $569,000 more. Now it's gone down since then because I imagine people have gone in and figured out that that work wasn't done properly. So there's no justification for increasing the price by that amount other than just pure greed. So we see that they are trying to sell it for 1.55. They bought it for $1 million. Let's say they upgraded it for 100,000. They're still making a clear profit of 450,000. And again, I was being generous with that 100,000. So I work in the pharmaceutical industry, and we have what is called an inflation penalty. What that does is that keeps the prices low for government entities to purchase pharmaceutical products. If the pharmaceutical company goes above inflation with a complex calculation, they get hit with an inflation penalty. And some manufacturers I've worked for, they've increased their prices to the point where they are selling to the government for a penny a bottle. So the inflation penalty doesn't necessarily stop them from doing it, but it keeps them in check and says you cannot get away with this. So how it will work is that if, and as I give presentations, people come up with different ideas. So this part I'm open to, but my idea was if they buy and sell 2 or more homes within a 4-year period, we know they're not normal homeowners. Normal homeowners don't move in and out that much. So just doing a simple database search, you can find out these people that are buying and selling and buying and selling. And you've seen the commercials on TV and you've seen the signs on the side of the freeway. You know who these people are. So here's an example is that we're going to say that they bought the house in August 2022 and sold it in December 2022. So if you look at the CPIU, the increase in inflation for those 3 months was actually 0.21%. So what you do is you multiply the price that they paid for it by that 0.21%, and you get what a normal cost would be for just buying the house in August, selling it in December, you've increased it $21.14. Well, their sale price was 1.55. So the difference being almost that entire 550,000. Part of the inflation penalty is that they're reasonable about it and they say, okay, well, what costs have you incurred? So let's say that they actually had that 100,000. We'll take that off the top. And we're going to give them a profit margin because it is a business, and small businesses, it's generally accepted that their profit margins are set. If they're 7 to 10%, they're doing well. So we're going to give them a profit margin of 110,000. That leaves the $340,000 as what I am calling excessive profit. For my point of view, that amount needs to be taxed. Now, I know I'm a little extreme. I like 75%. That's a nice round number for me. But it could be 25%, it could be 30, it could be 45. That could be negotiated. But what would happen is that gets a penalty assessed, a fee, a tax, however you want to call it. And then that money would then go towards programs to get affordable housing, to deal with homelessness, because these flippers are adding to the problems that we are seeing today. So they should have to pay for the solutions. So then here's another example. This lovely house on Canterbury Drive was sold to the flipper in August for $2,125,000. They listed it back in November for $2,995,000. There was nothing in the ad to say that they did anything other than put a fresh coat of paint. There were no permits. There was nothing that really could have justified that kind of increase in price other than this is what they do. They buy a house, and I will tell you that I found out that there are the real estate agents that are in collusion with these investors. My neighbor went to sell his house, and the real estate agent brought in investors all day long to do an open house and had people walking in and out. And our neighbor told us that he got 3 offers out of it. The problem with that is this all happened before the house went on the MLS. Nobody else knew that this house was available for sale unless they lived here and they had talked to the owner. So these people got first shot, these investors, at that house, and they were just going to flip it. So the cards are stacked against us here for just the normal people to be able to buy a house. So here you can see another calculation where, again, we come up with an excessive profit of almost $400,000, which if it's taxed, it's put a fee with it, it will make these people think again before they try to just come off with clear profit and create a problem that makes our housing situation much worse. So here's another example, and this is the most egregious one that I've seen in a long time. This was in Escondido. You can see that they bought the house on December 27th. They paid $1,130,000. 15 days later, 15 days over the holidays, they put it back on the market for almost $700,000 more. I mean, there's nothing you could have done in 15 days that could justify this, but this is what they're doing. They're buying it, they're slapping on a fresh coat of paint, they're maybe doing work that's illegal, and they're just putting it back on the market. But this was just incredible to me. I just could not believe it when I saw this one. So now the additional benefit is there are several other things that I found in dealing with these flippers and these developers. The developer that bought the property next to me, their workers told us that they were being paid under the table. And they told us this because they had to walk off the job because they weren't getting paid. So because they were being paid under the table, their only recourse was to walk off the job until the company ponied up the money. So if you have this inflation penalty system, and if the company wants to deduct those actual costs, they're going to have to prove that these employees are legitimate legal employees. They're going to have to show W-2s or 1099 forms where they say, okay, I had to pay my crew $50,000. That gets deducted before the inflation penalty gets tacked on. The next one is that, as I said, a lot of these guys are doing work without permits. The developer that bought the house next to me has been caught 3 times doing work without permits. So they know they can get away with it, but if they go and say, I need this deduction for my inflation penalty because I did all this work, well, they better have the paperwork to show that they actually did the work and they did it legally. So this would help in that situation where they would be forced to do things the right way. Now, the other one that would help is if that first ad that I showed you where they said they did all of the new plumbing and electrical, if they didn't actually do that and they were getting hit with an inflation penalty, then somebody would be able to go and say, wait a minute, you are selling a house that you don't actually have because you didn't do the work, which is fraud. So it would clamp down on that. But the most important thing is that it would bring back people like we now have as my neighbor, because my neighbor wouldn't sell to investors. He found a nice young couple that was looking for their first house and they're now fixing it up. But we've lost that these days because of the flippers. People are having a hard time finding that fixer up or that first home, that one they can get into, because they can't beat out the investors. They can't get in there before the investors know about it, and then they can't outbid them. So I think if we instituted this inflation penalty, it would just be a win-win-win. So I've talked about the short-term rentals and I've talked about the inflation penalty. Now, here's some additional things. 12% of homes in California are owned by foreign investors. Not that the foreign investors live here. They still live overseas. That is 1.5 million housing units in California that are not owned by Californians or Americans or anybody that are actually living in them. They are, in many cases, vacant. In some cases, they are just being rented out to Californians. California currently has a higher percentage of people that are stuck in rentals because they cannot buy. And this is only increasing. So we have this situation where, you know, when I was younger, it was called the American dream, being able to buy a home. People are not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to build equity. They're going to be perpetual renters. So California property should be for California citizens who live here and in the property, not just bought for investment. So who else is limiting ownership to just their citizens? There are countries all over Europe, Asia, Australia, New Zealand that are clamping down on foreign ownership. Italy, this one was interesting to me. They started putting in bans in 2018 when the average price per square meter was 1,975 euros. Today, the average price is 1,974 euros. So it actually works where you're putting that emphasis on the people who live there, and because of that, the prices go down. So Justin Trudeau, in talking about housing in Canada, said so many new homes are being looked at as assets, as investment, as opposed to places to raise families and create communities. He's absolutely right. Houses should be homes and not lines on a ledger. So my ask of the committee today is that they send a letter to the San Diego City Council requesting action on the 3 things I've talked about: the short-term rentals. The program needs to cease until they can do better enforcement and until this housing crisis that they keep telling us about has passed. Also to put the inflation penalty onto flippers to clamp down on that practice of just increasing the prices that we all pay, and to put a moratorium on out-of-state or country purchasers again until we can get a handle on the excess of empty residences and residences that are not being housed by the actual owner. So I thank you for your time. I tried to go through that pretty quickly. I know I talked fast. I tried to talk faster. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Rami. Let me take questions from online or in person. Yes.
Okay, just quickly, my name is Jen. Rainey, thanks for your presentation. In regards to the short-term rentals, you should know that Airbnb lobbied the city of San Diego and the city council and gave a lot of money, and that's why they're not interested in talking.
Oh,
That's
I know.
unless you can get rid of the lobbying money, you're not gonna change that.
I actually had our council member, who I think is yours as well, tell us that he didn't want to fight with Airbnb.
Right,
So-
because they're paying him.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's an election coming up in November, so that's another thing to consider.
Thank you, Rami. John, any other questions from attendees here? Okay, John.
My question is, you're asking us to support with a letter. Do you have all your sources for the claims that you're making?
I can get them to you.
Now, that would be important. I think we'd all want to, if, generally when we put letters together and that kind of thing, we want to have sources so we can back up the claims we're making and the asks we're making. So if you have all that stuff, that would be helpful at least.
Yep, absolutely.
Laura?
I have some problems on a few of the issues. The Airbnb one, a lot of cities in the state are looking at getting those put back in the housing market. I think Anaheim or Santa Ana was just doing it this week. But several others have too. So I think that's not as hard as we might think. I do have a problem with limiting what an owner can sell their house for. And I do have a problem with saying that you have to be a California resident. I personally may have a situation where I need to go out of state for a few years for family reasons. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sell my house because I don't live here. When I've had my house all these years, I put all this time into it, and I intend to retain ownership. And I think that's a ridiculous to say that you have to live in the state of California. You mentioned other countries and other countries wanting to keep ownership rights for their citizens. That would be fine if they were US citizens and you can retain the property. But to say you have to be California or all these restrictions for San Diego jobs or different things, I just don't see. I also don't think it's constitutional or legal for the last two. So I have huge reservations on your last two solutions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen, and this will be our last question because we need to move on now.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. I found it fascinating, and I hope that you will provide it. I'm not sure how, maybe send it out by the planning group, but that would be really helpful. I think this is really an important topic to bring to the attention of the city council and make sure that the council is aware that people are now being informed about this kind of thing. Short-term rentals are a huge problem in many of the community planning groups where I have attended for a number of years. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. And Rami, thank you very much for the presentation. If you do have information to forward, as John requested, you can email it and I will see that it gets distributed to the group. All right.
Sounds good.
And,
Thank you so
we'll
much.
move on from there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to the first of a couple of action items tonight. And this is on the environmental justice element to be incorporated in the city of San Diego's general plan. This actually was presented to CPC 2 weeks ago, Laura, by the planning department, and they're looking for a recommendation from CPC to incorporate it. Laura, do you want to provide a little bit more? I'm happy to, but I'm going to let you do it.
Well, we had a presentation and a lot of people were really surprised at how, I hope you all got a chance to look at the supporting documents. As to the neighborhoods that were selected in the, for the, environmental justice areas. Oh, in fact, almost every CPC group was real surprised, particularly if you look at the maps, because there are so many environmental issues that are affecting all areas of the city. And some of them have very, are much more impacted by certain impacts than others. And yet the focus was for this, for the the presentation, the focus was on certain areas, mainly in Southeast San Diego, and then Encanto, Barrio Logan, areas down just south of the city itself, and then kind of looping out into D4. And the overall component that seemed to be focused on was housing, the price of housing in the areas and the income of people. When you look at all the other factors together and how they all get correlated, and then you add in the incomes and the housing costs, they all seem to be the lower concentrated ones in the areas they were looking at. And then it appeared that they tried to make everything else fit. And there's a lot of other neighborhoods that are affected equally by the, let's see, let me see the components. Traffic exhaust pollution didn't correlate very well with the area that they had. There was much more traffic exhaust pollution in other areas of the city. Greenhouse gas emissions, pesticide use, impaired water bodies. Those did not seem significantly high in the areas they were talking about, and yet they talked about pollution effects quite a bit. And they talked about other things that were potential hazards, which do seem to be somewhat correlated, but they are potential hazards, and partly potential hazards because when the city was first growing, we didn't have a lot of zoning like we do now. And as an area grew with jobs, the houses kind of grew around it. So you have jobs, industrial areas and homes very close by. They're not well segregated. And that's definitely within the older parts of the city, but that includes us, includes all of the eastern area. So, City Heights and just about everything south of I-5, we're older, I'm sorry, I-8, we're older communities. So the northern communities all got to pretty much develop with community plans, and they had more open space and parks designated, and they had roads in areas for just houses, and they had their industrial and their shopping all planned out and laid out. And then they developed it that way. They usually paid Melrose for a lot of those things too. And they paid for their own sewer systems going in and different things. But in looking at the overall recommendations for the area, we're not saying that the areas don't need some assistance and don't need some focus and money spent, but we are saying that the environmental justice just seems not quite correlated with the studies that they tried to use to support it. So we couldn't support the findings. And a lot of communities talked about how they have fire hazards and none of those things were considered for these things. A lot of environmental issues that just weren't included as a whole either. So we just, I came up with one, the definition of environmental justice says the fair treatment of people of all races, cultures, and incomes with respect to development, adoption, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. And then the city's selection of the environment. Oh, and the environmental justice communities had all sorts of surveys where they would, different communities were told that they could go online, take surveys, provide their information to the city, and the city never came to any of the planning groups to talk about this with anybody. They just went to neighborhoods and they made partnerships with some nonprofit groups that were entirely separate from any of the planning groups. And so their partnerships and their surveys in specific communities were how they gathered all their information. And we don't even have a good access to what the survey looked like. I guess you could go online and look at the survey. I'm not 100% sure on that. But so many of the areas were in the city of San Diego were completely not included. And there's lots of areas, all of us south of I-8 and then Linda Vista, Claremont, a lot of those areas too, were stating that they have a lot of homes and areas that have that are affected by so many of these issues that were considered for the environmental justice ranking, but never got their neighborhoods weren't considered either. So it seems like the communities were pre-selected rather than taking the city into account as a whole, and that the outreach actually promoted inequality rather than making equality through the whole city. And it was completely limited to small areas, audiences that seemed to be pre-selected. And for success in compliance with the California code, it seems like this has to be reworked and a better outreach done to all neighborhoods. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it. There's also a form document called Blueprint San Diego, and that's going to be the overlying document that all our community plans are going to be attached to. And that document's goals are very good. But if you read down into the rest of the document, it's contrary to the goals. The goals are to try and get all the neighborhoods in the entire city much more equal than they are now in many ways. So the goals are good in Blueprint, but
yeah, and I think the goal is good here. It's just the way they approached it, right? So they're looking for a recommendation from CPC, from planning groups that they never engaged with. And yeah, I don't know how we could recommend it, but sure, open for discussion. Alex.
What exactly are they asking, Lynn? They're asking us to sign off on this to
Yes.
approve it?
Yes, to recommend it because it's going to the planning commission next month.
Oh.
And it will go to city council in June.
In the documents I looked at, I didn't see any specific communities mentioned, but you said Southeast San Diego. I'm looking at this thing right here even.
There's
if you went to the website one.
Oh, I didn't go to the website.
Oh, if you went to the website one, there's a map of the specific communities.
I'm curious to know, do you remember just a couple off the top of your head?
The communities?
Yeah, that they targeted.
Ario Logan's definitely one. And actually, Ario Logan is one of the ones where the community and the community got built up mainly when the fishing industry was going. And now that whole waterway is for ship repair, shipbuilding, and fishing industries. And there's a lot of potential hazardous waste. Plus, there is air pollution and the different.
It's one of the worst
problems.
areas.
There were a lot of junkyards.
Yeah.
Because we were somewhat also raised in the area in Logan Heights. And during that particular time, there was a lot of junkyards that were there. And there's a lot of the earth, soil is damaged.
Yeah.
And it's always going to stay that way because it took years and years of that particular business to be there.
And actually, all the border area.
Here, I'm still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And if the border area is definitely impacted as well, once again, a lot of junkyards, a lot of heavy industry. And actually, Webster, we've got, and our area has the landfill underneath us, but Webster's had issues with their school too. So we've definitely got some of that going on, not to the extent some of the other areas do. But so there's so many things, and Barrio Logan's been trying really hard to get the air quality improved and the timeline for the air quality improvements to be shortened, because I think it was something like 30 years and they're trying to get it down to like half of that, 15 years or something. Some people have suggested, and it's hard to argue that the shipbuilding and ship repair industry is pretty vital for good jobs to the city of San Diego.
Yeah,
And so how do we match that? And maybe it would be considered to somehow try and get the housing more removed from that area, change it all to industrial, and try and give those people a chance in other areas to live. Or nobody's sure what the solution is, but it's hard to continue to have the sort of industry that they have and have homes and the air quality get cleaned up. So there's lots of challenges to that specific area, Barrio Logan.
okay.
Logan Heights, like you said, has had a lot of junkyards and different.
Was that,
and
is that
it's
one of
like-
the communities that was involved?
Yeah, it is one of the communities involved. Yeah.
Just a second, Danielle has a comment online. Danielle?
Anyway,
Thank you. So if this is an action item, and they're looking for our planning group's recommendation, I would like to suggest, I don't know if I can make a motion online, but somebody can make the motion that our recommendation is to ask us our opinion before you ask us our recommendation. They should have visited the planning groups first before they asked us for our recommendation.
Yeah, and
I agree.
I think I agree. And so I'm gonna
Trying
let
to
someone,
sneak it in really fast.
well, I mean, it's after the fact.
Yeah.
Really, we should have been, because one thing I pointed out on page 5 of the engagement guide, they specifically said they're going out to planning groups to engage with the community. And yet not a single planning
were
group
they?
in San Diego saw the team.
Yeah.
Although we did see them at ODI last summer, because they combined it with the Choice Creek Watershed Workshop.
they didn't even contact the communities in the affected areas,
Yeah,
the planning groups in those affected areas. They did their survey instead and made these partnerships with these other nonprofits instead.
so we want someone to make a motion that, well, we just can't.
We can't,
Okay.
we can't endorse it until we've had a chance to get a
Provide input
presentation
on it.
from the
Yeah.
group and give them input.
Yeah, we
Right.
don't have enough information.
Yeah.
To
You'd say something
recommend it.
like, that the study is incomplete and insufficient, and we recommend that they do a new study involving planning groups. We can-
And across the entire city.
Yeah.
Input.
Okay.
I second it. Study is.
Wait, I need a clear motion. Someone needs to make a clear motion here.
It's insufficient. And
And incomplete, I guess made the same thing.
Lack of
And,
transparency.
recommend that,
Lack of-
they do a new study that involves all planning people. Input from the communities.
Lack of transparency from Danielle, I agree. Yeah, no, that's just part of it anymore.
And they've been doing, I guess, the outreach for at least a year. I think they said January of 2021 is when they started doing a lot of the outreach, and that would have given them a lot of time to come together.
Yeah,
Would have been during COVID too.
Everybody, all the planning groups.
okay. So do we have enough here to make a motion?
Study is incomplete. Need a new study that involves, planning group
Across the. Input from planning groups.
across the city. Lack of transparency. Requires that they come to us for,
And
That the new study involving all the.
including planning groups citywide.
Citywide. Yeah, ask for approval of something with which you had nothing to do.
I know.
Yeah,
Presentation.
I'm flummoxed by that one.
It's real interesting, because I'm looking at the map here, you probably don't have it, Lynn, but it goes up through City Heights, it actually goes to the very west part of the college area. Looks like a little bit of Talmadge Normal Heights,
Yes,
and then down around all the way to Barrio Logan. So,
Yeah.
all of southeast San Diego that got flooded and all that area,
sure.
And then-
Webster and so on. And then it looks like Midway District. as well,
Midway.
And a
Yeah.
little bit
I don't think
above,
Webster's any, but
maybe Claremont.
Yeah, Webster is included. Antelope Park.
And within the border.
But I would argue that
Yeah.
the eastern area community should be.
P1
in it.
River Valley.
And,
Santa Fe.
and what was interesting too is the Otay Mesa area, which is building up hugely with a lot of housing, was really concerned that they never had a chance to be involved because of the impacts that they have with the hard metals and the junkyards and things.
Oh, yeah, the junkyards are there now. Yeah,
All over that whole area.
yeah, that's
And
right.
they're adding a dump down there too.
Right.
Found out last night. They want to,
Commercial.
they're talking about adding a dump. in no
Okay.
time.
So,
Excuse me, I need to acknowledge, thanks.
Yep.
Do we have a motion then? A clear motion?
we find the study to be incomplete. We need a new study which involves planning groups.
Across the city.
Across the city, yep. The city. And we find that they need to conduct a new study involving planning groups. And then also there's been a lack of transparency.
Okay.
A second.
Who seconded?
Alita seconded. All right, roll call vote. Bob, you're always first.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex, Andy,
Yes.
Bettina,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Passed unanimously. Thank you. And so that's information you can take back to the next CPC meeting. Thank you, Laura. Oh, okay, on to the fun part. First, I want to thank Tom Silva because the agenda for the college area comes out a few days before ours does, and so I cribbed a few agenda items. I just like the way he worded the environmental justice element, and also the election of board officers. Chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer positions are up for re-election or new officers. We're asked to take nominations for the next year and vote on the nominations, or if there are none, re-elect the current officers to the same position. So you know how this goes.
I'll make a motion to re-elect officers to the same positions.
Second. Absolutely no discussion.
And I even printed ballots out today, just on the chance someone else might want to do one of these.
Somebody can bring it up.
All right,
Have the motion and second to start the
That's right,
discussion.
you do, Emma.
that was easy, re-elect the current board. I did already ask Bob and John if they were willing to serve. All right, roll call vote again. Bob,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex, Andy,
Yes.
Bettina,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura,
Yeah.
pass unanimously. Thank you, fellow people. And you don't, I didn't see anyone offer or volunteer to be secretary, so that means we will be
Oh, well.
continuing on our note-taker path for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for AI to be able to take that.
There you go.
Well, on that note, I want to add that I thought it would work, and I did try it for the last meeting. The problem is because the audio is connected to my laptop, Lynn said and did everything in the last meeting. All the notes had Lynn saying and everything, and even Bruce complimenting me on my hairstyle. So it's just not quite there unless everybody's online. I think it works better if everybody's online.
That's funny.
All right, thanks, everyone. Last action item is to approve the 2023 annual report. If you saw, I sent out, I put everything into a Word file. You have to input it online. It has no save feature. And right now you can't even get a copy back. We had to ask Marlon to please provide a copy after the fact. So if you read it, I need to know if there are any changes, any questions about it.
No, I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
It was concise and
Okay, no changes? Motion to approve as is?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Andy, thank you.
Yes.
Alex seconded. Okay, approving as is, Bob,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex, Andy,
Yes.
Bettina,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura.
Yeah.
Passed as is unanimously. Thank you. That's all of our action items for tonight. two information items left. Did everyone have a chance to look at the stuff for the Rolando Street Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That looked good
There's a
too.
flyer, poster board, link to the survey. Comments, questions, suggestions for changes?
Lynn, I just had one thing. I wondered, you know, a lot of times there's confusion between the planning groups and community councils. Is there a way that we can put something in there that we're chartered by the city or?
I think on the poster board, it does say we're
It does.
recognized.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's almost verbatim what's
Okay.
on the front of the web.
Okay, I
page.
didn't catch that.
We're recognized. Let me pull it
Okay.
up.
Yeah, EACPC is officially recognized by the city of San Diego
Perfect,
to
okay.
represent.
That's good.
Yeah. And on the land use and,
Yeah.
land use
Mhm.
and services.
I have a comment.
Yes,
Thank you, Lynn. Yes,
Mhm.
she did both.
yes,
Cool,
that's good
Yeah,
enough.
looks great.
Good enough for government.
And time efficient, like, done.
All right, it's done. All right. So that wasn't an action item, it's just done. And last information item, I sent everyone a link to the website. Has everyone taken a look at that?
I haven't yet.
Yeah. thank you.
Okay.
Um,
I could pull it up. We can take a quick look here. If I can find it, there we go.
Captain Brown works on it.
Okay.
Yeah, there.
I'm sorry. I'm hampered because I set this up at home on a 27-inch screen. It looks slightly different here. There we go. So that's the first page.
I have a comment.
Sure.
It's the same one I made
Oh,
through
yeah.
our ad hoc committee. Okay, so imagine this is the landing page. It's not very inviting to me. I feel like we need something if we're gonna ask people to come and look here. Even if it's our logo or just something to
Community
make it
photographs
more,
or something.
give it some kind of welcoming and warmth rather than just this cold map. EACPC doesn't mean any, I wouldn't want to look at this website. I'm sorry. It just needs something. If
Yeah.
groundwork can, I tried to come up with a logo using the Eastern Area Planning Committee logo, and then I just put some circles around it, like in orange and yellow to kind of pop it up.
So this is what you,
But-
so if you click on the link, this is the first thing that pops up?
That's
Yeah,
the
this is a
homepage.
landing page,
Yeah.
and then there's a,
Cause you don't even, if you didn't
You don't know
know,
what
you
it
don't
is.
even know you're in San Diego.
Yeah, you don't know what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
You don't know what
but,
it is.
okay, so let me
It's not
scroll up.
inviting,
Yeah, you
I
do
guess.
see, this is the home page here,
Yeah.
Right.
titles, and then, it's somewhat limited, I'm gonna say, because
Is it?
GoDaddy, which is the program,
Mhm.
is not, doesn't have a lot of options.
Okay.
It comes with a lot of preset templates,
Yeah.
and it doesn't allow you to do much. The other website that I maintain for our council is in WordPress, and it has a lot more flexibility, so you just sort of have to set some things
Can
up.
we even just maybe add some text that just lists the neighborhoods?
I think, isn't it on the bottom of this? At the bottom of the page?
Yeah, the map, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I have a
know.
suggestion
Yeah.
about just the visual.
yeah.
I feel like because we're the eastern area,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that City Heights and what's the other one above it? Is it?
Yeah, Kensington.
Yeah.
I don't think they
College.
should be highlighted. I realize that's part of District 9, but it's
Kind of turn it off.
when I first saw that, it was confusing to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is City Heights and Talmadge doing in there? I would say,
Graham.
go ahead, let them be part of
So like the college
rest
area?
of the actual topography and that's natural colors.
Mhm.
And I
Okay.
might even take out all those other dividing lines and just put the lines around the actual eastern area. So
Okay.
I would make a line around Webster
Mm-hmm.
and then divide the neighborhoods like you have it, Oak Park,
Yeah.
Rolando, Redwood, El Cerrito, and Rolando Park. Then
So
it's
make it
clear
stand out.
what the eastern area is.
Yeah.
And, to me, it's like, how do we get people to go, like, you live here, this is where you are, this is the area we serve, this is, you know, this is the space that you want to come to if you live in here, you know, and
But you may not know that you live there. You may live in, I think I live in Eastern, but again, I live in College area.
Yeah.
right.
So we need to, I think what we need to do is maybe name the streets that it covers somehow. No,
No way.
no way.
No.
I mean, it would, you
I'd
would
be
need
too
to have a
busy.
much
Be
bigger,
too
you'd need a
busy.
much bigger.
We need something that's gonna make people wanna look further. I don't know if this does that, in my
Well, at
humble
the very
opinion.
top, instead of just EACPC, I would definitely put Eastern Area Communities Planning Group.
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole name.
Spell it all
Yeah.
out.
okay.
And then,
It's
maybe
actually
you could,
down here at the
you
bottom.
know,
but-
list the areas
That's
and
what I'm
then
saying. Hungry.
just list the areas and then show the map. But I like the graying out of the other areas.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
you
make
just
it the other tone.
have it the same as like the natural landscape colors that are around it. And
Mhm.
then it's clear what the eastern area is.
Yeah, I just copied it right off the Mid-City.
I was
Community
gonna say
Plan
this is
update.
Yeah.
probably like District 9, right? Is it?
No, it's off the Mid-City Community Plan, because
Oh,
Alex
okay.
Frost actually did it.
All right.
Mhm.
Because it includes the other.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because it has District 4 in it.
Right, and
Yeah,
they're all,
correct.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, I look at this map as not very inviting, knowing that we don't have a lot of the resources to make it different. But culturally, it doesn't tell me that I belong to this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if we
Mhm.
can have cultural images, like tying in the whole area, because we have such a beautiful, diverse area. I mean, look at City Heights and, well, all of us, we have such diverse groups that I think we need to represent the Eastern area group of who we are and make it more inviting, because if we want to increase participation and getting people to join in the surveys or come to the meetings or do the outreach in that effort. But that's my personal opinion from a marketing standpoint and a community advocate for diversity, inclusion, and equity. You know,
I have another.
that's my,
I like your comments on that. And I also, it just occurred to me, what does our group do? Our group talks about infrastructure and planning for stuff like what the images I think of people working on the streets, you know, the parks and rec pictures,
Right.
like
right.
the kind of stuff that we actually make decisions on. Maybe there's like that some kind of that type of imagery. And so at least you're kind of, it's sort of a visual cue about what we are. Because one thing we're not doing is making laws about, you know, crime or the way that budgets are spent for healthcare or anything like
Mhm.
that. What we're doing is, you know, looking at the land use and that kind of stuff. So that kind of imagery, maybe.
Okay, Alex?
Yeah, in fact, I would make this a different page, like under resources or something
Uh-huh.
else. But on the landing page, it kind of, they beat me to the punch, but I would take pictures of the area.
Yeah, that's what I
For
thought
Yeah.
instance-
too.
For instance, Rolando Street Fair.
Yes,
next week.
exactly.
That should be
Yeah.
Okay.
in Rolando, El Cerrito. I can
Boy,
take
it's
pictures
Lake
of the
and
Rolando
Little League.
right.
Right, and you can see, when you do City Heights, they have that tower bar
Oh, the
thing.
tower,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So we should do something, I think, similar from each area, so.
Right.
Each
all of it-
community, yeah.
Take a couple of photos.
Tourist
the
Lake.
next
Because there
month.
are 6 of us,
Sure,
6
sure.
photos.
I think that
Yeah.
would do a lot. And then again, it could be parks, I mean, Choice Park, Choice Lake, I mean, there's all
Mhm.
sorts of really interesting places, yeah, here, you know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what I would do.
I would like to see that. I agree, but yeah, who's gonna provide pictures?
Yeah, I'll take some.
Okay.
I have some.
And we could give you a lot of great pictures.
Okay, because I would, yeah, I know that would help. It's just hard
You walk
because
the
of
dog,
6 different communities. You're gonna have to do like a collage kind of thing here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also, you should be able to look at it visually and tell where you are
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
It would be nice, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, Miss Artiste.
It would be nice if you could click on the picture of the street fair
Mhm.
for Rolando.
Yeah.
And if you
Takes
have
you
a
to the other
website,
website,
it takes
yeah.
you to the
Oh, well, you
other
could do that
website.
too.
Yeah.
Orlando web. You could also link to the community council.
There you go.
There is
Right.
a page in here that does that. Yeah.
Like we have a banner that sort of shows El Cerrito. So in theory, you could have a banner that has vignettes of all the different places.
Mhm.
It's part of the banner for EACPC.
Yeah,
We can show where the new library is going to be
That's
built.
right. There you go.
that's
Yeah.
already one, yeah.
Maybe we can, you
Oh,
know,
here,
find
yeah,
the
you got
map
those.
with all the
Yeah.
school locations and put that, a page with that, with all the different school locations.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, and all the park locations,
Sure.
things like that, so people could get a feel of
Yeah.
the whole area.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
are
that's
some
good.
listed here underneath the
Parks,
community
parks.
council. There's some parks here, Choice Lake.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
libraries, libraries.
Yeah, oh yeah, just like that.
But these are buried, right? It's kind of like the reverse of what it needs to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this should be.
Put
the
that
front.
in front.
Something like
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
because we
where
don't
is it?
have a few things here, like, we don't have a drawing yet for the GDP for the library, the new
Right.
library.
Got plenty of those. things.
Yeah, got a few. Yeah.
You can put a square, you know, Oak Park Library.
Something like
Um,
that.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's-
Coming
there's
soon,
stuff
we
there.
that
call
type
it.
of thing, yeah.
Okay,
Even though.
And then
We
you
have-
can
we have a
even invite them
schematic.
to stay on, to follow the progress of the library or something.
Mhm.
well, again, there's a
Donate.
project page here that actually does have.
And don't.
There's a project page here, folks.
Oh,
and
good.
it actually does have projects going on. And if there's a live project one that has drawings like Choice Triangle Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The link there will take you out to the GDP, which we got from the city project manager. At some point, we'll have something for Clay Park, I think, that'll finish that. But if you go down to the bottom, it's not there yet. I can't get down, sorry.
Well, this all looks awesome. I think
Yeah.
we just need the
front.
homepage.
You need,
Yeah,
a-
front.
yeah.
Yeah. So you got all the
It's the
stuff
open
there.
and act, like,
Right.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
the
just
front
kinda like
door
where you
needs-
drive, it looks awesome.
Yeah, and it's, I'm just gonna say it's hard because there's 6 different communities that, it's not like the college area, it's not like Kensington. City Heights is almost too easy because City Heights is so diverse. You just put a collage of diversity and you're done. But we're 6 very unique communities here. It's a little bit more challenging. Okay.
Yeah, one
Yes.
other thing too, and
Yes.
on the, what is it, information page? Go up to the top if you would. Sure. The options are.
Okay, this is.
Resources, maybe, or is it our communities? It must be our community. That's where we are.
That's, no, this is our communities. These all linked to
All
our.
linked to the
Scroll down.
councils.
This is it. Scroll down a little bit, tiny bit.
Sure.
Under the El Cerrito, we meet on the 3rd Thursday of the month, not the first
Okay.
Thursday.
I think I swiped that off your website, so,
No, that better change.
okay. All right, I'll collect that. All right. So we'll make some changes. I'll get some photos and we'll come back next month and talk a little bit more about it, about what else. Sonia.
So you were mentioning, the same idea about the page linking to the website, but you can also link the home page to different spots in. So you can click on something and send you to. another
Yeah.
Oh, to another
spot.
page,
That'll
yeah.
allow people to explore the whole website.
I'm not sure you can do that in this particular template.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's sort of limited, but let's see what we get picture wise and then we'll come back next month and talk about it. Okay. And are there any other, if you look at the information page, our documents has got a list of our meeting agendas
Okay.
because we do need to keep a record of 5 years
Mhm.
of documents now. So each one of these, it crisscrosses. If you go to the top under our meeting and events page, that also links to where the agendas are and the approved minutes. And then we do have all the videos
Yeah,
of the meetings have been
YouTube.
set up now.
Good.
We have our own YouTube channel. EACPC. So if you click on that, it'll take you out to YouTube and you can pick whatever month you want to look at, if you ever want to look at that. And so we'll be adding the annual report to this at the bottom. Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna have.
Better do my hair next.
meetings
And we have to
all
have.
within 2019. We were, right?
Yeah, I didn't, I could go back and put probably 2022 on here, because that's fairly complete. But 2020 and 2021, I think I went back and looked and we have 3 months in 2021.
January, February, March.
Yeah, exactly, and then the world stopped. So we can add that. So that takes us pretty much back. Anything else for this cut? Yes,
Is it live?
yes.
Oh, what is it? I'm sorry, I can't read it from my, what does it say?
It's Eastern Area or Eastern Area Communities Planning.com.
Thank you.
Kristen.
I think it would be nice at some point, and if you want help with this, I can help you.
Yeah.
To make a QR code. And it would link right to the website, and like I have one for Webster, and if people are like, oh, what's your website? Then I just pull up the QR code, somebody takes a picture of it with their phone.
It's on the flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a QR code on the flyer that will take you right to the website.
And then maybe people can put those around local businesses or something. I don't know, people can.
Yeah, QR
Get the
codes are
website
used by a
going.
lot of people.
A lot of things. Okay. I think that's enough to work on this for a month.
No, but it's coming along. I think it looks good.
It's live enough to start storing our documents there and start just posting.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I am excited.
That's great.
My learning process is speeding me up.
Right.
Our name is Eastern Planning Group in short.
Eastern area.
I am excited to know where are we now from the beginning. You mentioned 2021, we mentioned 21, 22, and now, and we are making a report. How do we see the journey, the character, the description, the color? That accomplishment will tell us who we are in the area. There is no boundary, I tell you, because this is all about urbanization. Please forgive me, but I'm so excited. There is no urbanization without peace and order. Fixed price. Period. And we should concentrate on the basic needs of humans, man, his shelter, his survival, clean air, clean water. The link that we would like to recommend, ma'am, is please attend the Air Commission Board meeting, and you will see, and it will answer why. I've been there 11 times.
Okay, we're talking about our website now for, that we need to move on, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, John,
There's been no change. Rule of possibly part of a penny in interest.
They won't give you any kind of solution that allows you to get the money.
I left it up to the treasurer.
We have no new information.
All right, we'll talk next month about it again. Thank you.
I have a question for the treasurer, please.
Yes.
Are we going to give a donation to Teen Challenge soon?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, before we close the account.
Oh, no, we're using that
After,
money to close the account. There might be a little bit more. Yeah. Might be a little bit more.
Need 5 cents.
4 cents.
Maybe a little more. Yeah, we are going to donate the money to Teen Challenge, Danielle. Okay. On to the minutes, March minutes. Excuse me, Andy. Can we move on? Review, correction, and approval of the minutes. Bob, had the March minutes. Did everyone read them?
Yes.
Do I have any changes?
Oh, thank you.
I know, stellar work. Any comments, changes?
I think there might be a date error. Well, yeah, there was a date error
On what page?
under, on page 1. Third sentence from the bottom. 324, not 320.
324.
Yeah,
Gosh.
On page 1, what line was that?
it was the third sentence from the bottom. The dates of the stream view cleanup, even though that did change to 4/6, but at that time,
It was 3:30, I thought, wasn't it?
Is it 3:30?
was it 3:30?
Yeah, it was 3:30 and then
Oh,
we had to move
I
it
thought that
because of
was,
the rain.
okay, I see. It's not the year, it's the,
It's the date, yeah.
okay,
So it should be 3:30.
3:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other changes? Motion to approve as corrected. Alex, seconded by Bettina.
No, actually, there was something else. You
Oh,
went too fast. I'm sorry. On page 2, information and action item number 6. I think it needs to say motion Danielle and then approval unanimous.
There should be a second.
There should be a second in.
Yeah.
There's a second
Yeah,
by
there's a
John.
second already,
Oh,
but
okay.
it doesn't say motion Danielle. It says
Okay.
Motion, yeah,
Yeah.
and then approval unanimous, just missing those 2 little pieces.
Okay.
Approval unanimous, okay.
Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, let's try this one more time.
Sorry.
Motion to approve as amended. Alex again, seconded by Bettina. Roll call vote, Bob,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex, Andy,
Yes.
Bettina,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
approved with changes. Thank you. Committee reports, election subcommittee. So before Kristen or Jennifer give a report, I just want to say that there are 3 people here tonight. After tonight, everybody's fulfilled their 2 meeting minimum. If you intend to be a candidate for the June election, you must make contact with Jennifer Bennett, Kristen Hurst. If you could talk after the meeting, you can also send in a comment from the website, and I can connect you that way. But they'll be in touch with you because there's a questionnaire form you need to fill out. And you get to no, you just let them know that you're interested, and so we can get
Throw
you on
your
the
hat
ballot.
into the ring.
Throw your hat into the ring. Yes. Okay.
Near the ring.
Yeah, any old ring will do. Who's got any updates? Kristen, Jennifer?
I have an update.
Okay.
So I sent out an email to all of the members that have terms that are expiring. And I received, information on whether people are running again or not. I don't know. Do I share that at this time?
Yeah.
So, Alex said that he would like to run again and submitted his paperwork. Bob is running again and submitted his paperwork. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Andy in person. I didn't hear anything from email.
I emailed you earlier today and said I would like to.
Excellent.
Need to get my questionnaire.
Okay. And then Danielle said that she is not going to run again.
Okay.
And then we have a couple of open seats as well.
Right, because Daryl is termed out. And the new policy will go into the new recognition plan for planning groups stipulates that we can't have married couples on the board anymore.
Or people living in the same.
In the same,
residence, right?
same, yeah, property tax. record.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, you're stepping down
Yes,
then?
I'm stepping
Okay.
7 other chairs.
Chair, yeah, chair of the chairs, I know.
Right now.
Okay, so so we have an opening for Redwood Village, Webster. We have one for
Yeah.
Rolando and one for Rolando Park. Because we haven't filled the Rolando Park one in some time.
And a
then
community
what was
rep.
Danielle's, she was at
And,
large.
and a community rep, yes. Sorry?
Danielle's seat is considered at
Community.
large or community group or what?
Community rep. Yeah.
It could be business or community rep.
It could
I
be
think.
business or community, right? And the member at large is filled now. Although it's conceivable, a member at large, Bettina could run for Jennifer's position and we could open the member at large position again if you wanted to do that. It's entirely up to you, or you can find you might be able to find another candidate from Redwood Village to run.
Who's attended 2 meetings?
Who's attended 2 meetings in the last year. That's it. Okay. Running short on time one more time. So for community updates, if you have anything for your community, please raise your hand. Aside from the Rolando Street.
Okay. Well, I do
Okay.
have a couple of.
Okay, John, we'll do.
I
you
just wanted to report that this past weekend, thanks to Lynn and District 4 and District 9, Roberto, especially, we had a cleanup on Streamview Drive down at the west end of it. We filled 2 large dumpsters at construction side with size of 40 cubic yards with junk that neighbors brought down, lots of stuff like mattresses and old furniture and that kind of stuff. And it was very successful. So I wanted to thank the people who were there. Tim, John from Bourne Street up in Redwood Village, Loretta, Richard Diaz, Joyce from your neighborhood.
There's Cadillo, Vicky
Church from Oak Park.
Bettina,
of course. So thanks a
Lynn,
lot.
Jennifer.
We hopefully can do more of those.
George.
George, yeah.
Yeah,
George.
George from Redwood Village. And thanks again, Roberto. And hopefully we can start doing maybe quarterly. Lots of people came by and were like, hey, how often do you do this?
Yeah.
And I told them every weekend. But anyway, yeah, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Well,
yeah.
Bettina did most of this really
Oh, thank
clearly,
you.
really.
It was
And Roberto.
awesome.
Yeah, Alex?
Yeah, quick for El Cerrito Community Council. Megan Colbard, who is the director for PATH here in San Diego. She's going to come to our community meeting a week from this coming Thursday, talk about the progress with the building. PATH Villas El Cerrito. You might have seen it on El Cajon Boulevard. It's canary yellow.
It's
like this building that just as you drive on the boulevard, you just go, what is going on?
It's one of those nice neighborhoods.
Building without cargo containers.
Yeah.
All painted yellow.
Mhm.
And it looks just like that. Anyway, she's going to talk about when it's going to be completed, should be within a few months or so. And then residents will move in and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to create a community advisory board with them and our community council to advise them on neighborhood impact of what's going on. And the other item of business is we're discussing a draft of a letter based upon the presentation that you saw tonight. So the community council is going to talk about that as well. And perhaps send a letter to the city council about short-term rentals.
Okay, thank you.
Let's do it.
Bob?
I have a couple of cleanups to announce. On April 27th, a Saturday from 9 to noon, we'll be doing our annual catwalk cleanup. I think this might be the 12th year. And then on Saturday, June 1st, in advance of graduation day at Clay Elementary, we'll be doing a cleanup at Clay Park. So, and then one other item I wanted to bring to people's attention is we call it the triangle when you come into Rolando Village off of El Cajon Boulevard. We had one Canary Island palm that was probably 60 to 80 years old. And I don't know if people know, but they're being stricken by something called the South American weevil. And we've had a bunch of them die in the neighborhood, and unfortunately it's taken our palm. So last weekend the city was out and actually took it down, and it kind of went viral on Nextdoor. But the plan is in 2026 we'll be celebrating our centennial and I'd like to plant a centennial tree. So whether it'll be another Canary Island palm or some other tree that can take its place. So, but yeah, the Canary Island palms are dying all across the city. Apparently, I was out on the internet. Del Mar has a program where they've been treating them, but it's only been partly successful. So.
That happens a lot of times when we get some infestation.
Yeah,
The
yeah, the whole
different
crown
species.
rots, and so all the fronds were falling down. And then with the planning for street fair, the last thing, I mean, that would be a real hazard if those fronds were falling on top of people. So,
Sharp.
yes, very, yeah, impaled. Yeah.
Okay.
Darn.
All right, thanks. On the tree canopy,
Yeah, John and you and I are, we're gonna
meet.
get together in the week after next
Yes,
and plan for the city's
budget
budget hearings.
hearings.
Is there a way to get bigger trees rather than these little stick things they give you?
You know what? I think that through SDG&E, they have a tree program, and you go out and you buy the tree, and they, depending on the size of the,
They deliver it.
yeah,
actually.
and they deliver it, and right, yeah, and so you can get a bigger tree.
You
Yeah,
can get a like 15-gallon.
and you can get up to 5 of them.
It takes
Yeah.
forever though.
That would
Does
be
it?
great.
But the others
for
did
months
too.
For my tree.
Look, we need 160
yeah.
trees. I don't know.
I know, we're
160 trees.
Apparently they have a big budget for trees right now.
You'd think, and we've been hearing about that, but no
Well, that's what I
action
heard.
yet.
You're
So
right.
we-
I just
Yeah.
don't think any experience. I've just heard it.
Danielle, Parks and Recreation.
Yes, Lynn, I emailed you two emails about 20 minutes before the meeting started. So if you want to share those with the group after the meeting, that would be good. But I do want to read into the record the one email that came from Mr. Tom Tomlinson of Park and Rec, because I asked him about the Choice Parkway Street vacation progress. And his answer was his general understanding of the street vacation process is as follows. Kick off the project with engineering and capital projects, get a project manager assigned and flush out scope of work. This is directly from his email. To me, there are two main components to this effort, the street vacation process and studying how to decommission a street and reuse it, the site for a park. Regarding the street vacation, as part of the process, the city will need to research the underlying landowners of the street to confirm ownership. And if the underlying parcels are not owned by the city, then they would need to look into land acquisition process as part of a larger street vacation process. So the rough steps listed above, while not comprehensive, would lead Tom to believe that the effort will be in excess of a year and should not impact the base term for the upcoming lease that I referenced. And that lease was the Storage Connect 2 lease that's coming up. The meeting I mentioned earlier is at the San Diego Housing Commission on Broadway. It's an in-person meeting only. They don't take public comment virtually, and if you want to watch it live, there is a link to that also. Doesn't sound too transparent to me, but that's my opinion, and you know I have very strong opinions. But the good news is that tomorrow in 5:30, Storage Connect 1 and 2 will be meeting on Zoom. So if you want that link, I can send it to you. It's a quarterly meeting, and it's usually on second Wednesdays at 5:30 in the evening, all on Zoom. Usually Richard, I, sometimes Alita or Lupe show up, and then a few people from Storage Connect 1 there that is down in Barrio Logan. And we keep asking the same questions and we keep getting the same run around, and that's my opinion too. The other email I sent you was to announce that CP1 and 2 are having a joint Zoom meeting. We haven't had one in several years. It's the CRGs north of Highway 8 is CP1. The CRGs south of Highway 8 is CP2. And it's a Zoom meeting on the 17th of April. And if Lynn, if you could share that link with the public agenda, there's 3 things they're going to talk about. Projects, programs, and the budget. So it's a pretty general kind of informational meeting. So if you want more details about Park and Rec, that would be a really good meeting to attend on the 17th of April in the evening. That's it for me, unless people have questions.
Think not. Thank you, though.
All righty.
Thanks. Thanks,
Oh, and I
Danielle.
want to tell Bettina that you are the new person to find all the tiny little mistakes in all of the minutes, because I even missed those. And so
Aw.
good for you, Bettina. Keep up those eagle eyes on minutes, because I won't be able to do it now. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks,
I will
Danielle.
carry on for you.
All right. Hi, Laura. Is there anything else from the CPC meeting aside from this that we need to know about?
We just had I'll quickly let you know about the city's selection for the planning groups. We got recognized, as did almost every other planning group. The only one, the only existing planning group that did not get re-recognized was the one for Uptown. The city selected the competing Uptown group.
Vivint, I think. But wasn't it Vivint, or I can't remember.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
they're a group of almost all engineers. They have planning degrees. They're engineers. They're all quite young, and they have a 90-day time frame to get elected. They have to get elected still, because they've submitted their pre-selected board to the city. The city has accepted their pre-selected board, and they have seats, like we have seats for our different neighborhoods. They'll have a seat specifically for a renter in an area, and a homeowner in an area, and a business owner in an area. And they broke it down that way. And since they all have to run for election, there is the chance that some people who are on the existing board can run against them, and they'll end up with a completely different group than really what was selected. There was also a challenging group in La Jolla, but the La Jolla existing board actually did get selected, and they've made a huge outreach to the group that was competing against them. And the representative said he thinks they're going to work well together and become a stronger board because of that, because of the ideas of some of the new people, along with the ideas of the existing group. So for the most part, most of the, I guess there's a few that still need to finish up their application and get recognized, but the city has approved their extension of their paperwork.
There were 7 groups that were
7
delinquent.
groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
7 deadly sins.
all in all, most of the planning groups are going to still be what we're used to. We're running on a few different rags, but
Yeah.
based on the new planning department, how they're doing things.
I think the other thing that is interesting is there's an amendment that will allow us to have Zoom meetings again.
Oh,
We can't talk about it until after May, when it's approved by the city council, because Joe LaCava already said he wants to tweak it. And I don't know what that means.
oh.
But it does mean that as a group, we can talk about how to work something out fair. If people need to work from home, we can work it out, but I still think we'll have to have hybrid meetings. We'll just figure out a better way to do it, so we can have a quorum if someone's at home.
Oh, good.
That
Yeah.
one's a good one.
It's
Yeah.
a good one. So, just before we close next month, we have someone from MTS coming to talk about that e-bus site down there. Some updates on that next month.
That'll be
I'm
interesting.
sort of hopeful
For-
now
for-
that we're.
For the good
Yes.
of the order, please, Lynn, could you announce that the Mid-City Community Plan group has been selected and the names have been released?
Yes, thank you, Danielle. Yeah, we did get email. There's a group of 16 individuals for the working group. I have some questions from Alex that I'm going to send to Alex Frost tomorrow about the demographics of the group.
Yeah. Those seem very
Interesting.
representative of our communities.
Yeah, and I'll email that list out when I email all this other material out, just so you know who it is. But the 4 chairs of the 4 planning groups are the 4 designees, and there are 12 other people. Most of us don't know who they are.
I wonder how much planning experience they all have.
Well, they have a urban planner in their title, so I guess that works.
And
Right.
engineers.
So when you email Alex Frost, please, Lynn, could you also ask if these 12 people are going to have to attend a cow and if they're going to be indemnified?
Oh, good. I'm guessing that he's probably going to say no, but I will
Yeah.
ask. Okay. Thank you, Danielle. All right, motion to adjourn. Second, thank you. It is 9:06. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Next month, it'll be a little less. Okay. Thank you, everyone online.
I sent it to Lynn, so she probably sent it out.
Yeah.
I did send it in.
We're seeing it.
Thank you for all the work on the website.